Yeah, hey Hunt family, it's Tracks and Tackle. Thanks for joining us, and we have a great guest here for you today. We have the Silver Fox joining us with the white-haired wisdom from many, many years of
Freshly
hunting.
shaved.
Yeah, he's got a nice clean face, and now that this hunting his buckbeard's shaved, right? So, just wanted to welcome you to the program. Been on before, and on for the review. We want to get you back in here and have a good conversation. Got a lot more that we want to talk to you about and get your impact. So, welcome to the show.
So yeah, our past few sessions they've been a little bit formal. So we want to gather as a group, gather as a family, and get our table leader here with us and just ask him some questions. So our organization isn't the greatest, but we're going to learn more about PAP here and just dive in and grow together as a hunting community in our cabin. So, PAP, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good tonight.
Survived the rainstorm? Didn't get washed away?
Didn't get washed away. Didn't get wet because I didn't go out of the house.
Creeks are high though.
It was a day to sit and cock your feet up and watch westerns.
You should. Well, that's a good day to do that. It's a good day to do that. But you should have seen like the drive over here. The creeks are high.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even across the street, the creek's pretty high. So
Right. It's like the river monster shows what they fish in because how murky it is.
The creeks now, today, are what they were when I was a kid growing up.
they were always high.
They
Back
were
then.
always like that. That was normal.
Yeah.
So that has nothing to do with hunting. That's history.
has to do with the fishing spot.
Yep.
We had more fishing spots than watering holes.
Right. Right. So, all right, Pap, got a list of questions here. Some are going to be deep and they're going to make you think and scratch your beardless face, and others are going to be, a little bit quicker. So, here's one for you. What has the impact of hunting been on your life journey?
Well, I started to hunt when I was young, and I guess when I was younger, probably up till 10, maybe 15 years ago, hunting was a priority. When hunting season was in, I was hunting. But as I got older, I realized that there were more important things than hunting, and I still love to hunt. But I'm to the point now that if the wind's blowing when I look out my bedroom window, I can stay under the cover and get some more sleep. I don't need to go out there and freeze or get soaking wet or that way. But I mean, I still enjoy hunting.
Right.
And I enjoy being at the cabin with the crew. That's probably more fun than the actual hunt.
So, looking at the man you are today, if you didn't have any of the outdoors experience, the fishing or hunting, do you think you would be any different than who you are sitting here?
It gave me something to do, look forward to. I mean, we're sitting here just the start of the new year, and yeah, I'm looking forward to trout season. So I am, because that's when the gang gets together and we all go down to the creek, and anywhere from an hour to 3 hours at the creek till we limit out. And just the time of being around family and shooting the bull. It's and that even I look forward to that. And same way with hunting season on it. But it's something that right now in my life where I'm at, it's something that hey, if I wake up the first day of trout and sick, 20 years ago I'd went to the creek. Now I'm smart enough to realize, hey, I don't need to get down there and catch more cold.
It's not about just another trout.
It's not about just another trout.
Yeah.
I can have fun if I don't catch trout, or if I don't shoot a deer, or if I don't see a deer. It's being out in God's beautiful nature.
How has being an outdoorsman impacted your character? You know, as a young man, did it have a positive or negative impact? Having a love for the outdoors, hunting, fishing.
I think the love for the outdoors. I was raised on a farm, so I was outdoors all the time, anyhow. But
yeah,
the hunting and fishing, and as I got older, being out in the woods, especially in archery season, the beauty that's out there with the leaves changing and the animal stuff. I mean, just seeing what God has done
Mm-hmm.
with this has made an impact for me to look at the little things and be content when the day's over, even if I've only seen one squirrel and two chipmunks. I mean, I can still be content when I come in and not be bitter and upset because I didn't see no deer.
It's a lot easier in archery season too because it's temperatures a
Temperature's a
little
little
bit
better.
nicer and you can sit longer and the forest is a little bit more alive here in the fall than it is in the winter as well.
So that's a good follow up. So I know in our previous episode that you talked how you got into hunting. It was a neighbor that was coming over to hunt for your property on the farm. But so you started with small game, but what piqued your interest into picking up the bow and arrow and getting out into archery?
Well, I guess the bow and arrow was sort of one of these deals where my younger brother, got started in it, and he thought he was pretty good at shooting the bow. So
we all think we're Robin Hood.
Yeah, but anyhow, he got his bow out, and my wife and me were visiting my parents, and he wanted to show us how good he could shoot. So he challenged my wife to shoot the bow. Well, she had 3 years of archery in school, and she zapped the bullseyes 2 in a row, and that was the end of a shooting target that day with him.
Yeah,
but that did pique my interest because that was something that she could do. She could go out in the woods and hunt with me, and that's when I got into hunting with the bow. It probably wasn't until the early '80s till I got into that part of it, and as I did some hunting then, and then my oldest son got geared up into the hunting. Well, my brother got him involved in the archery, and through him being involved, I didn't want him out in the woods by himself, so I learned to hunt and spend more time in and got involved in it.
It's always good having a hunting buddy.
Yep, it's always good having a hunting buddy. Even if they shoot deer out from under you, it's still good having a hunting buddy.
They're there to help drag.
Yep.
Right. How unfair must it be for the rifle guys to watch these archery guys go out and they get 2 month head up. They get a head start.
That's part of the reason why I love archery so much. Is you got a lot less hunters in the woods,
right?
And I actually got the forest to myself. Even if I am hunting like a public plot of land, you don't have the deer aren't on high alert yet. Probably until muzzleloader season starts. First couple cracks of the gun, they know.
Yep.
They know where to run for cover, and
they know where to go.
They're on alert. Completely different. But that's part of the reason why I love archery hunting so much because I do get a head start.
Right.
And my hunting season's a lot longer than just the rifle hunter. And for the guy out there that likes to hunt rifles, God bless them. I mean, to each their own. But that's part of the enjoyment is the season's longer, and I just want to be outside too.
Good reason, having family involved, and your son, and ultimately, just wanting to get out in the woods a little bit more. So recently, we discussed coyotes, their impact on nature, how there's way too many up on by the cabin.
Yeah.
What's your experience with coyotes? Have you ever got one? Do you see them a lot in the woods? I know you have some experience with some northern Pennsylvania hunting. Were they more prevalent up there? Fill us in a little bit.
Well, I don't think they're too much more prevalent up in northern Pennsylvania where we hunted at than what they are up in where we're hunting at now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when we first bought the land we're hunting at now, there was very few coyotes. But they have moved in. They're just like cats. You get 2 cats, and next thing you know, you got 40 cats, unless you start eliminating them. And it's the same way with coyotes. And you don't eliminate them, they're going to eliminate the deer herd.
Yeah.
They won't necessarily take the big deer down, but they'll take the fawns.
Yep.
And if you don't have new fawns growing up, you don't have new big deer. The big deer are just like us. Eventually, they get to my age and they kick the bucket. The younger ones are still there. The older ones pass away, and there ain't no more reproduction coming in. I mean, it's there, but they're annihilated by the coyotes. So, And I have seen coyotes. I've never seen none up where we're at now. I've seen in Bedford when I was up north hunting there.
Mm-hmm.
I missed one with a bow one day, but it was running, so.
At least you took the shot, right? You miss 100% of the shots you're going to take.
Wayne
Oh,
Gretzky.
But that's the only coyote that I ever shot at.
All right.
One of the things you said about the property where we hunt now, you're saying when you got that land,
Mm-hmm.
there weren't as many as there are now. And I was thinking about the other wildlife that we have up there on that property. There were a lot of black bear. And there
Mm-hmm.
still are black bear up there, but
Yeah.
it seems like the numbers have gone down compared to 30 years ago when you got that property. What do you think?
There's not as many black bear in the area where we're at right now as what there was back when we got the property.
Mm-hmm.
But when we got the property, that was a testing or scientific area that the Game Commission was working on.
Mm-hmm.
And so that had more activity and more bear in general in there. But no, there's not near the bear up there in our vicinity now that what there was 15 years ago.
Yeah, and I just wonder, certainly there are a lot of elements as to the conservation piece and why like we got more coyotes and we got less black bear, and do they correlate to one another? Maybe in some elements they do,
and
maybe in other areas
we got
they
less
just
deer
don't.
too. We got less deer too than what we did
Yeah,
there. I mean,
that seems to be the case everywhere too.
Yeah.
The deer population in
Well,
general.
I don't think the deer population in general is going down. Now, you take down here in this area, I think the deer population down here is probably more than it was back 15, 20 years ago. So
About the time I moved out of the house,
yeah.
the deer population
Yeah.
started to come back.
The deer, but the thing with the deer population is down here is when I hunted down here, got into hunting, well, before my older son was able to hunt, there wasn't a woods down here that you couldn't go in and hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And now, I mean, we had a square mile that we could hunt and drive every woods in there, and we ran deer, so we did. But now there's only about 4 woods in that square mile area that you're legally allowed to go in and hunt. And the deer knows which woods to go in.
The safety zone.
They know the safety zone, which wood you're not allowed in, and when the first shot's fired, that's where they're at. I mean, I can see them all summer long going up across the field out here, back and forth, every day at pretty near like clockwork.
Mm-hmm.
But about Thanksgiving, right before Thanksgiving that week, they quit going. I mean, their patterns change. And I know that rut has a lot to do with that.
Sure.
But still, the rut don't change the pattern of the doe. The doe will still follow a consistent pattern. But
well, I remember, when I was younger and I was just getting started hunting, and you were teaching me and taking me out. Once it got cold, into December and into gun season, and doe season was like the second week. It wasn't, the way that the seasons ran were a little bit different, but I remember, you would see a pile of doe at a time.
Mm-hmm.
It was nothing to see 15, 20 doe running in a herd. And then until I got to be, my late teens, my early 20s, that really thinned down. If you saw 4 or 5 running in a group, that was a decent group. So there's been a lot of change over the years, certainly.
Something I want to highlight is talk about 15 years ago, the population around here rising. 2002, that's when the regulation for 3 antlers on 3 points on one side, better word it, but 3 points on one side. Do you think that had any impact on that? What are your thoughts when they first put that rule out? Maybe you were frustrated at first. Maybe 30, 20 years from now, your opinion changed. You want to fill us in a little bit?
I think the impact of it and what they wanted to do it for was to get bigger rack bucks on it. And I think it has accomplished that. My only, I'll say, bellyache about that is I can remember when we hunted up north. There was a spike up there that had probably 12-inch spikes. And he's been around for a long time, a big deer. But unless you were a junior, you couldn't shoot that deer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that deer was big enough that it did a lot of breeding. Because it could be, with the size of it and the size of its spikes, it could whip an 8-point. So the genetics were still coming back into the herd. They weren't eliminating it. So that is my only frustrating part, that what they wanted to do was get bigger deer by eliminating the 4 points or the small spikes that are coming in just this year's fawn. Want it, eliminate them being shot. That I understand, to get the bigger rack, and I think it has accomplished that.
Yeah.
But also think that we have some big spikes running around that are doing a bunch of breeding. That I think there ought to be a rule in there when.
I was going to say,
how
do you think you would change that?
Yeah.
I mean, if you get a spike that has 7, 8-inch spikes on them, they ain't a first or second year deer.
Yeah,
They're not going to get no bigger. They're not going to get no bigger. I mean, but putting something in maybe to eliminate them, do the genetics better, would be something that I'd be happy if they looked into.
Yeah.
On that.
Yeah. Time to lobby our legislators.
But
how old were you? Do you remember when they made the change?
No, I was really young.
A tyke.
No, but yet I still think today for the youth, they can shoot spikes.
You can get by.
Yeah. Junior hunters can get by with it.
But when I was a junior hunter, I remember the little buck that I got. The tag in its ear was a tore off red man. The cardboard background of that, and you just basically signed my name on it. That was my deer, and they changed the process now a little bit, probably for the best, that you can actually get a tag now.
Yeah.
A legit tag.
They changed that so they had a better record of how many were out there hunting.
Yep.
On it. So, I mean, and I have no problem with that. I think that's good.
Right.
On it.
And overall, I'd say the antler restriction rule has done the part, right?
Yeah.
What we're talking about with the spike, the 4-year-old spike buck, it's not going to grow any better. That's the exception, not the rule. For the most part, over the years since they changed it, it has made a positive impact on bigger bucks. But what it really comes down to is, hunters having a little bit of restraint. And I'm one to talk because I like to shoot small bucks and young deer because they taste good. But if we all had a little bit of self-control, the rule change forced us to do that. Guys that like to shoot those younger deer.
Well, the rule forced us to look for the bigger horns.
Mm-hmm.
But I have never been able to take a set of horns and cook them soft enough that they will eat. I can use them to stir the soup, but you can't eat them. Right. So if you're hunting to feed your family,
it's irrelevant.
It's irrelevant, how big the horns are. But now we got to make sure we got 3 on one side, and it lets some of those younger deer, the 1 and 2-year-old deer, walk to the next year and mature and become a 6 or an 8 point.
So what's interesting is in my research when it first came out is there was a lot of controversy and a lot of pushback from the public, and through a lot of issues I like to step into someone else's shoes and see it through different eyes. But I never thought of it like this. But let's just say I'm a hard-working, blue-collar guy. I work, 40-plus hours a week. I'm putting food on the table for my family. I'm paying bills. I'm not an avid outdoorsman. I like going out, 2 to 3 days out of the year. I'm slowly maybe getting more into it. And now they put this rule out, taking away opportunity from me and taking away, what could be a really fun hunting trip and telling me I can't do that. So I thought that was just interesting to see through that eyes.
Well, looking at it in that eyes, back when they came in with this rule, hunting season came in on a Monday. So for most people, they had to take a day of vacation to hunt. If you didn't take the first day a day vacation, and the first day is usually the best day, they'd have 2 Saturdays to hunt.
Mm-hmm.
So the average working guy would at most get 3 days on it without really getting into his pocketbook.
Yep.
So if you only got 3 days to hunt and a little spike or a little foreprint is standing there in front of you eating acorns all morning long and you can't shoot him, it's frustrating. So it is.
The other side to that, I guess the parlay into a sub side topic is you got some hunters, guys that are probably going to take the time out of their day to listen to a podcast about hunting and fishing. Right? Like they're killing deer.
Mm-hmm.
And guys like us, we've had our share of success and we've harvested a bunch of deer. But there are a lot of guys out there that those 2 or 3 days is all they get, and there are a lot of guys that don't. I mean, I know guys that they're well into their late 20s or early 30s until they ever shoot the first doe. Just because they don't take it's not that they don't take it seriously, but they just don't have the opportunity that someone like myself has had. So it's interesting that you look at it from both perspectives because there's a lot of guys out there. I think we can sometimes, when you kill deer like we do successfully, we take it for granted that there are guys out there that don't.
Right.
So hats off to the weekend warrior guy that goes out there, hunt your hunt, and I'm one that I feel younger deer taste more tender.
Mm-hmm.
I go out to a restaurant, I like veal, so the younger deer taste better because they're more tender than that old buck. But I like who doesn't like a big set of horns to hang on the wall too. So that's the trade off.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, Pat. Hey, you've been over the state in a couple counties. I know been out of state. We're going to get into that, but you guys used to go up camping in Potter County, and we got the cabin now. I don't know, how many years would you say you guys went up to the land in Potter?
Probably 9, maybe 10.
9. All right, we'll call it 10. So, all right, 10, and Bedford we've probably been 20-ish. So
pretty near 25 in Bedford.
Is the ground different? Is it mountain ground? I've never been up really hunting much of northern Pennsylvania.
Well,
I know there's more snow and it might be a little bit chillier up there.
The area that we hunted up there, it's mountain, but it's not the hills that we have in Bedford.
All right.
It's more of we're up on top and it's sort of flat. So it is.
Plateau.
It's gradual.
It's gradual.
Valleys.
Yeah, I mean, you got your valleys, but there's nothing like the back where when you go down and you stick your arm out, you can touch the bank while you're standing straight on it. But
all
I
right.
mean,
which would you say you made more memories at? Which did you prefer to hunt wherever you had more action?
I'd say there was more action in Potter County because that's been 30 couple years ago. There was more deer around then.
There's a pile of deer.
There's a pile of deer in there. I mean, and it was a lease that we hunted on, so you only had so many people on it, and you didn't have all the Tom, Dix, and Harrys trying to cross this section to get to that section.
The deer weren't pressured.
I mean, now, the only time that we ran into that is when I guess we had one year where there was some snow on the ground and they hunted bear. And from what I heard, they did a lot of traveling on four-wheelers to get in to hunt the bear. Well, deer do not like four-wheelers.
Yep.
When they hear them start, they leave.
Yeah.
But that year, we didn't see any deer in our section because now the section below us, they had a lot of deer that year. They got a lot of shooting, but they just ran over there, and there wasn't enough hunters over there to run them back.
All right. And now I know you've been out of the state. You hunted in South Carolina, Wyoming a little bit. You want to share some memories that were made down there? Key differences from Pennsylvania hunting?
Well, the key difference in Wyoming is out there, it's a different breed of people. They don't get excited.
Why not?
It's just another day to them. The deer are going to be there. Now, the year I went out, there was too many of us, we couldn't do it. But my brother went out and some neighbors around here, probably for 10 years. But they only took about half as many people as they did the year that I went out. And they'd ride in the back of the truck. And if someone would see a deer, they'd tap on top of the truck would stop, and whoever seen it got to take the first shot at it. But the year I was out, there was too many of us, 9 guys in the back of a truck. Isn't safe to start slinging guns around, so we did a lot of walking. And by us walking, you hunt a lot of canyons out there. You're walking on top of the ridge, and you got the canyon and hollow down there. Well, when you're walking, there's deer run to stay in front of you. But in a truck, you could get up in front of them, and you could spot them. They weren't near as spooked. But we all came back with deer, but to me, it wasn't a successful hunt. None of them were.
Mm-hmm. Was what you thought you were going on
Yeah,
to do.
because most of us came back with 4 points on them. I came back with a spike. One guy shot either a 6 or an 8 the first day. But before when they were married, they were bringing back big rack bucks. I mean, for us hunting back here, they were monsters. But out there, they were just Midwestern mule deer.
Yeah. So you said about hunting canyons. This is a very important question. What gear and equipment did they do to get that deer out of the canyon when they dropped it? Because it feels like I'm pulling one up out of the canyon on the back side of the mountain. So
there was always some place to get down, and when you shot it, you and 2 or 3 of your buddies went down, got it, and brought it back up.
You guys drag them out, or did you quarter it out and then carry them out?
We drug them out and threw them in the back of the truck, the same as we do here.
But you could get the truck down to where the...
No, you couldn't get the truck down.
Okay.
I mean, the one I shot, it came out of the canyon and went on the other side. And I shot it, and it took the truck 2 hours to get to me. I went down the canyon and up the other side and gutted it and waited. And it took 2 hours for him to go up, find a place to cross, to come back down to pick me up.
That's a story, though. I mean, that's interesting to hear how that works. Having never hunted out west.
But I mean, and as far as my South Carolina hunts, they were enjoyable. The first year we went down, the outfitter had no idea what he was doing. Mm-hmm. Then we got with another outfitter and went down the second year, and it was an enjoyable hunt. We seen deer. I didn't get none, but we seen deer. And we went back down to him the third time, and there was something going on in his operation. But it wasn't an enjoyable hunt. There was too much tension in the camp. I mean, when you sat down and eat supper with everyone, there was tension between him and his guides. So it wasn't enjoyable. That was the last time we were back. So
would you say you had a preference, though? I mean, you certainly got different memories from different locations, but do you have a preference of hunting out west or hunting local here or down south?
I think I enjoy hunting local better.
That's what you know, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know the terrain a little bit, so you do. When you were down south, you crawled in the truck, went out in the morning, and they pull up, walk back here, 50 yards, you'll see a stand. And then they want you to stay in that stand till that truck came back to that spot to pick you up. Mm-hmm. Even if you shot and hit one, you weren't supposed to stand a trail or anything that way. I mean, I know the last year we were down, well, there was 6 in our group. And I think we probably had at least 5 deer that we hit that they said they couldn't find. Now, in my mind, the 2 that I hit, I'm pretty sure they died. But when you walk to the spot and look where they're shot at, well, I don't see no blood, so you missed them.
Right.
But when you squeeze the trigger and the deer doubles up, you know you put a bullet in him somewhere.
Yeah.
It might not have been a fatal shot.
Well, that speaks to,
Yeah.
like what you were
That-
talking about with the outfitter.
Yeah, it comes back to the outfitter and the guide and them feuding and fighting among themselves. So
Yeah, if you get, I mean, there's a lot of good ones out there, and there's a lot of mediocre ones out there. It's like
Right.
finding the right mix.
Yeah.
Because when you find a good one, often you'll go back like you did the first time.
if you find a good one, he's usually busy enough you have trouble getting in.
That's right.
Or it costs too much to go.
So, me and Ronnie here, me and Air Eagle, didn't mean to give your alias away, Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. I only wear a mask part time.
Right, but we talked about our wish list and things that we were looking forward to, like looking into. We talked some equipment for the new year, but something I think I talked loosely to you about it, Pat, not too long ago. But I'm growing up. Everything I got, I feel like there's a hierarchical order. When you first start hunting, everything gets handed down to you, and then how much hunting means to you means you dive in, you buy more gear, or you get more equipment. So like right now at my age, 26, I'm looking into getting some top tier equipment because I've been spending a lot of time in the woods. I want to be prepared and stay warm and just be ready when I'm out in the woods. But how was that for you? I know we'll talk about your clothing first. We'll keep it simple. Like did you buy like the new state of the art stuff that was coming out? Did you always struggle with hand me downs? I know back in the day, Pappy's camo was just jeans and a flannel shirt.
But no, when I was being raised on a farm, I was out in the cold.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
basically, my hunting gear was what I used to go to the barn to work in. It was worse than clean. But I can remember the first year I hunted, my mom took a red hanky and sewed it on the back of my coveralls so that I had red on.
Yeah, because I mean back then
Yeah.
red was
Red was
it wasn't a
the color.
fluorescent orange.
So as far as the hand-me-downs, there wasn't too much in the hand-me-downs, but it was what you had then. As I guess after I got out of the service and we started to hunt, I started to get into a little more hunting. I was working construction work, and they usually shut down for the first week, so I'd have a week to hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I bought some fluorescent orange, good hunting gear to keep warm. Matter of fact, I still have it. It's up there. The coat's pretty ragged. The pants are in
It's like
bad shape
Bear got to it.
on it, but I still have that.
Yeah.
And if I want to keep warm, since I get colder as I get older, I'm going to have to see about buying some of those battery operated ones to keep me warm. Whether I do or not is to be seen. But
Wish list.
that's the wish list.
That's what you were talking about. When you start dealing with hand-me-downs. I don't know if his orange pants and jacket are up where he thinks they are. They're probably, I think I got them, but they're still around.
My orange coat, I know is up there because I had that with me this year. I hunted with it. And I think my orange pants are in there too.
Right. I'm sure with the out-of-state trips, though, especially Wyoming, going that far, you get excited. You want to, get some new gear, or maybe binoculars or whatever it might be. So I'm sure you spoiled yourself a little bit going out there. But I know you acquired some firearms through life. Ultimately, you're passing down to some of your children and grandchildren. So your deer rifle you use right now, I believe that's got my name.
That got your
On the
name.
back of it.
That got your name in the butt of it,
So
son.
no one forgets. It's got the name on the butt of it. But what's the story with that? Did you buy that one new? Was it a hand-me-down
That
from
was,
someone else?
I guess, the second gun I bought. I bought a 12 gauge pump shotgun when I was 12 years old to start hunting small game. And I hunted deer a year or two with that. And I guess probably my sophomore or junior year, one of the guys that I played football and went to school with had the gun that you'll get, 30-30, he needed some tires or something for his car, and he wanted to sell it, so I bought that off him. They were my first two guns. I bought a gun while I was in the service off of one of the officers that I was there with. He had one that he wanted to sell. We got to talking one day. I asked for leave to come home to do some hunting. And when he said, "You hunt? You want to buy a gun?" So that was the little carbine that your daddy has.
Yeah.
On it. I'm gonna say probably the only gun that I bought brand new was I bought another 12 gauge home shotgun because I learned the good gun, the first one I bought, to my brother to go to a shooting match because it would shoot. You could point at the ground and knock a bird out of the sky and didn't have no
Right.
trouble.
That's the kind of gun we all want.
You still got it, or
No, but I loaned it to my brother to go to a shooting match, and when they were coming home from that, they seen a coon out in the field. So why he took the gun, I don't know. He went to hit the coon in the head, and it was a rock, and busted the stock on it. So
lesson
it
learned.
sort of broke my heart. So I sold that gun to him. I wish the wouldn't, but I did. And he sold it somewhere along the line, so it's out of circulation. But I replaced that with another 12 gauge. I just wasn't the same
Not
gun.
the same. Yeah.
Not the same gun. So it wasn't. But I think that's the only one that I ever bought that was completely brand new, except for my pistol. They were
Sure.
brand new. But everything else was yard sales or something that way.
Well, they work too.
Yep.
They work too. It's one of those things that, when you find, it's like the outfitter, you find
Mhm.
one that works for you, you keep going back to it,
Mhm.
So when you find that gun that is folding the deer up for you, don't change something if it's not broken, if it's working for you.
Your deer rifles, were they hand-me-downs? Did you buy yours?
So I've got, I never thought I had that many guns, but recently I was looking for a gun, and I found that I have more guns than I realize. So I've acquired them over years. Because growing up, I just used my dad's guns.
Mhm.
I didn't go out and buy one because I always had one available to go hunting with if I wanted to go hunting. Probably first gun that I bought, similar to you, was in an automotive deal. So I had an old car that was falling apart, and I sold it for $1 price and a 30-30.
Mhm.
So I had him throw a 30-30 on top of a couple $100 for an old scrap car, and so I got that, and probably the first gun that I bought brand new for myself was a 12 gauge. So sort of similar
Mhm.
story, And then the other guns that I've got are either you buy secondhand from somebody that you got a good deal on, or they've been handed down.
I'd say mine are mostly hand-me-downs, but getting to the point in my hunting career, wish list maybe a semi-shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
So down the road, maybe if it's there, a good price, but we'll see.
If anyone listening wants to make an offer, you got a good semi-shotgun.
Right.
Let us know.
All right, Pap. There was a time that your brother failed, and ultimately it impacted you a little bit. But what's a time that you spent in the woods? Things went south, didn't go the way you wanted to. Whether the one that got away, or you forgot your clothes and you got all the way to camp. I don't know. I'm sure you can recall for the years a story that's still bitter to this day.
Tell us a little adversity and how you overcame it, right?
Well, there's 2 times that I thought of giving up hunting. We were hunting, I guess it was the last Saturday, and I hit I think it was a 4-point. They were driving, and it was raining, and we had blood, but then we lost the blood due to the rain, and I knew that deer was dead, but we just couldn't find it. Now, some of the guys that we were hunting with went back and the second or archery season after rabbit season came in too, and they found it, but it crawled in between 2 falling down trees and got in under them, and we couldn't find it. The fact that hitting one that got away and it was just a wasted.
Yeah.
I mean, that discouraged me. I thought of giving up hunting then. And the other time when we were driving for doe, my brother was above me flanking, and we were coming down. It was up on a little ridge, but I knew we were getting to the end. And, I mean, my brother would holler every once in a while, so I knew where he was at.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the last time he hollered, he was out in front of me about 20 yards. Well, with him being up on top, he could see the standard. And when I hollered, the stupid standard hollered back. And some deer broke back between me and where I thought my brother was. And I shot at him, and my brother didn't come out. When he did come out, I took the bark off the tree above his head. And I just about packed him in.
Yeah, that'll sober you up real quick. Yeah.
Because when I got out to seen the standard, I asked him where my brother was. He didn't come out yet. He was back there. So when he told me where he was back at, I knew that was the direction I was shooting in. But he was okay.
Right.
But still, they're the two times that I thought of giving up hunting.
What can you do different there? I understand, like you're shooting lane where people are at, but sometimes it's just
there's an element of look, hunting's a masculine pastime,
right?
But there's an element of danger to what we do, and probably more than what we even acknowledge.
But what we realize,
yeah.
I mean, you just take up where we're at. I mean, we know where every stand's at. But all it takes is, we'll say, Ronald up in his stand. When the deer breaks back towards where you and your dad is, or Shane in there. I mean, when it breaks that way, common sense is put the gun down.
Right.
But instincts, still, there's a hole there between them, and you try to put one in it. Instead of, I mean, it's like hunting down here when we hunt with the local farmer. There's 2 drives that I can't do it anymore, but when we drove them, I had to flank the field because there was only about 2 places that you could shoot. The rest of them you had to look and watch them run and tell how many there were because there was houses or something.
Yeah,
I was the only one that he trusted to be out in those areas. So, and I think when you're driving, common sense. I mean, the situation where I was, standards are to stand there and keep their mouth shut and look for deer, not to be hollering back. Because they know you're coming out through. You got one up here, you got one down here, maybe 100 yards below you. If you walk past them, then you whistle at them or something.
Yeah.
But you're going to see them when you come out. So, right. I mean, the incident with my brother, I blame on the standard out there.
Right. And you want to trust the guys that you're hunting with.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about how it's better to have a hunting buddy, but
trustworthy hunting buddy might be a little bit better.
You got to have somebody that you are confident in to go out and to be hunting with, too. Well, I mean, I guess this has all been a great conversation, and certainly love the insight and the stories that you're sharing, One of the things, I guess, to wrap up would be, we started with asking a question about hunting, how that impacted your character and turned you into the guy that you are today. If there was a legacy that you were going to leave and the future hunters and the guys that like us that hunted with you and you've left an impact, what would you want that to be? If you could put your mark on it and say, this is what I'd want to leave these next guys that are going to continue hunting after me. For them to carry, what would that look like?
I think would have liked to see Ewan's coming on here and the other people that I've hunted with and the young boys in the neighborhood that we hunted around here with. I'd like them to think that I taught them safety and common sense in the woods and respect for nature. That it's a privilege to hunt. It isn't a gift. I mean, it's something that we deserve to be able to go out here and hunt. It's a privilege to be able to Saturday morning or Monday morning go out and sit in the woods and hunt safe.
Yeah, we take things for granted for sure, without a doubt.
And probably you too. There's been some time in your life that we were hunting that I talked to you about something. There's still times that we need to look twice and shoot once instead of looking once and shooting twice on that. And think when you bring that gun to your shoulder, am I shooting away from my brother that's in that line over there where the deer likes to run? If I am, put the gun down. When you come to the cabin that night, you still tell the story. I seen a big one,
Yeah.
but it was headed towards lawn, so I didn't squeeze the trigger.
Better to be safe than sorry.
Yeah, on it. So I think that's the biggest thing that I would want people to remember me by. He taught me safety and common sense.
We all leave a deposit,
Mm.
right? So, in every relationship that we build, we all leave a deposit, and certainly you've deposited into all of our lives, and certainly hunting and fishing and outdoors and stuff. And so, appreciate you for that, and sharing your stories. Next, I guess the next big thing we got is in springtime we've got some trout fishing to do,
Mm.
and looking forward to catching some fish. But until then, we'll see you here in a little while. It won't be long until we'll be asking you to come back on,
Great.
talk with us a little bit more. But
Favorite.
if not between now and then, after we do some opening day of trouts, like a holiday here, the same as opening day of gun season. So we'll get some intakes and feedback from you on that adventure when that day comes as well.
I think, and this just came to the top of my head, is my closing remarks here
Mm-hmm.
to the people who listen to this. We all leave a reference or an influence on the people around us, whether it is good or whether it is bad. People will look at us and say, that guy's a jerk. That guy there has some common sense, and I learned from him. So we need to remember in whatever we do, whether it's fishing, hunting, or just going to work, try to set that positive example for the ones that are around you.
The world's filled with a lot of negativity, but always try to light your candle, make it a brighter place. So, all right, Pat, we appreciate you getting out of your comfortable recliner and getting out here with us today and coming to the kitchen table. So, hey, once again, thanks for hanging out with us. So, Cracks and Tackles, you can find our socials. We're on Instagram. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple. There's a few others, right?
Anywhere you can get a podcast, you'll be able to find us. So if you're listening and you want to sell a semi-automatic shotgun, Hollywood Horses might be in the market for one. But till next time, appreciate you tuning in and stay wild.